Hello, everyone. I wanted to make some videos for you to help out with Module 1 prerequisites. I won't have class time to go over a lot of these things because we are assuming that they are, in fact, prerequisites for you. Um, but in case it's been a while, I want you to have somewhere to start. So the next one we're going to go through is question number 2 here, which is all about order of operations. So if it's fuzzy, order of operations, sometimes you'll see it written this way, PEMDAS, or sometimes it's known by the mnemonic aid, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. That's kind of the going mnemonic aid when I went through school, but maybe I'm too old and that's not around anymore. Some of you might just know it as PEMDAS. This tells you the order in which to perform operations. So the P stands for parentheses, and along with parentheses, any grouping symbols that you might have are going to be included with that parentheses. So even in this problem that I have here, these absolute values here, that's considered a grouping symbol. So when I am doing order of operations, I'm going to simplify inside the absolute values as if they were parentheses. So anything like inside an absolute value or inside a square root. Those things are kind of understood to have grouping symbols around them because they're inside another function. So you also kind of have to understand that parentheses includes grouping symbols. And then the E here, the next thing you're going to do after parentheses is evaluate any exponents that you might have. And then in PEMDAS, the M and the D are actually grouped together. You're going to do multiplication and division together at the same time from left to right in the order that they appear. So if you have both multiplication and division, whichever one is on the left, you're going to do that first and you'll work your way to the right. So you do multiplication and division together in the same step from left to right. And again, the A and the S go together. That is, you will perform addition and subtraction together in one step from left to right in the order in which they appear. So that is your order of operations. That's kind of how we need to be, the order in which we need to do operations. It's when we have a bunch of them. So let's come back and look at this guy. So we need to simplify this and actually perform all of these operations. We just have to figure out what order to do them in. So the first thing that we're going to do is parentheses. So again, parentheses include grouping symbols. So there's parentheses here. So we're going to simplify inside those parentheses. The absolute value is considered a grouping symbol. So we're going to simplify inside there. And then one more thing is when you have division, since we have this really big division bar here, there are understood big parentheses around the top and understood big parentheses around the bottom. So as we do these, we are going to have to do order of operations inside each of those big sets of parentheses. So we're basically going to simplify the top, we'll simplify the bottom, and then we'll do that big division. That's kind of how we have to do this because there are understood groupings around a big fraction bar like this. Okay, so all that said, so we've got big grouping symbols here, and then we'll have to do order of operations inside there. And we have a big set of grouping symbols down here, and we'll have to do order of operations inside there to simplify it. So let's just kind of start, and we'll do order of operations inside the top and inside the bottom. So if I start with parentheses or grouping symbols on the top, I have to do that 2 minus 10 in parentheses. 2 minus 10 is -8. And so I'm going to have -8 squared And then I don't have any other grouping symbols up here, so I'm going to leave that as is. And again, I've got those big parentheses understood there. And then on the bottom, again, I have my big understood parentheses down here. To start simplifying down here, this absolute value is understood to be a grouping symbol. So I'm going to simplify in there, and I'm going to get the absolute value of negative 8 plus 3. Negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5. And then we have plus a negative 12 divided by 3. Now, when you have an operation inside a function like this, since I have the absolute value here, if this had been a square root instead of an absolute value, once you simplify and get a number inside the function, I want you to evaluate that function immediately to turn it into a number. So what is the absolute value of negative 5? Well, absolute value is distance from 0. That says, how far from 0 is negative 5? And the answer is it's 5 units away. So that's why absolute value return positive numbers here. So I'm going to repeat the top here. And the absolute value of negative 5 is positive 5. And then I'll rewrite the rest of this, and we will continue on with our PEMDAS journey. Okay, so we have done parentheses and grouping symbols on the top and the bottom. So we are good there. Now on the top and the bottom, now we need to do exponents. So we'll evaluate any exponents that we have. And up on top, we've got a bunch of them. So negative 8 squared. That means negative 8 times itself. Negative 8 times negative 8 gives us a positive 64. And then we've got this plus here, 2 squared. That means 2 times 2, which is 4. And then we've got this minus sign, and then 5 squared is 5 times 5, 25. Okay, and then on the bottom, we don't have any exponents at all, so I'm just going to leave that. And actually, I guess, so we do have, so notice, that's okay, I'll just do it in 2 separate things. Sorry, I am debating. We'll do one step at a time. Okay, so we just did the exponents and on the top and the bottom. So our next step here is multiplication and division together from left to right. Now, up on top inside these grouping symbols, I don't have any multiplication or division at all, so that's not going to change at all. So I'm going to leave that as is. And then on the bottom, I'm going to perform any multiplication or division from left to right. This is the only division that we have right here. So I'm going to leave that 5 plus, and then perform the division. What's negative 12 divided by 3? Negative 12 divided by positive 3 is a negative 4. Okay, so now we've done the division. And now to finish off inside each of these grouping symbols, we are going to do our addition and subtraction together. Again, from left to right, the order in which they appear. So on top, we would do 64 plus 4, which is 68. And then we have that minus 25. We'll come back to that. And then on the bottom, I have 5 plus negative 4. 5 plus a negative 4 is the same as 5 minus 4, which is just 1. And then to finish this off on top, 68 minus 25, that's going to be 43. And then on the bottom, we just have 1. So now we've simplified inside each of our grouping symbols. The top grouping symbol simplified to 43. The bottom grouping symbol simplified to 1. Now we can do this big division. That's the very last thing to do in this problem. 43 divided by 1 is just 43. So that's going to be the answer here, is just 43. All right, I hope that helps with order of operations. Yeah, that should help with Module 1 prerequisite. I hope that helped, and I will see you next time.